Hi there, and welcome to Louie's Little Corner, where I will be teaching you my methods for painting various miniatures. In this episode, I will be going over how I painted C3PO from Imperial Assault. My first step is checking over the model for any imperfections. Once that is all set, we prime the model. When I prime, I try to follow two rules while priming. One, don't put it on too thick, and two, make sure to cover the whole surface. And as you can see here, I primed in white because I like it when the colors pop more later by having a lighter surface. And now it's time to paint. So what we're going to do first is we're going to paint the little midsection on C3PO. I'm using black to kind of give him the look that he has in the picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our black and paint right inside the front and the back of C3PO. So you want to make sure you get a little bit of paint on the end of your brush and then get in and all the way around both sides. And what you want to make sure is that you get in between all the little wires and crevices to make sure he has a nice even coat all the way around. And once you have that, we can move on to the next step. The next step in our process is probably the longest. That is painting C3PO almost entirely gold. So the way I did this is I took my Vallejo gold and then just slowly went through and painted the whole model. One issue with painting gold though is because it's made out of tiny metal particles that it doesn't always cover completely, and you can get over this by doing more than one coat. I had to use two in order to get him to have an even golden color, but it'll depend on how much paint you have on your brush and how mixed your paint is. But it took me 2 coats. It might take you more, it might take you less. One thing to watch out for is to not get too much gold in the black, though black is easy enough to touch up later. But once you've completely covered him in gold, we'll move on to the next step. We're now kind of at our midway point, so I wanted to show you what we have so far. We have a golden colored C3PO with a little black centerline. This is after 2 coats of gold and 1 coat of black right in the middle. So next we'll move on to the more detailed part of the model. So the next step in the process is going to be using Agrax Earthshade. And what Agrax Earthshade is it's a wash. So for anyone who doesn't know what a wash is, it's a very thin coat of paint, is the simplified version. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover C3PO's golden skin with Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to do this because it'll bring out all the crevices, the nooks, the crannies, and kind of highlight all the surfaces that are up and then darken all the surfaces that are down. So what you want to do is just cover him completely, but make sure you don't have any large pools because it will make him muddy or darker depending on how big the pool is. So you just go over it, kind of move any around that gets caught up in any large areas, and then cover him completely. Once you do that, we'll move on to the next step. So the next step in our process is going to give C3PO his eyes, which are little lights. So we're going to do that using a sandy yellow, which is a little lighter than his golden skin, so that will make them pop out slightly, but not too bad. This is just one of the colors I had. You could use any color you want. So we just do 2 little dots where his eyes are, making sure they're somewhat round, and that's all this little step takes. So now we're on really our final painting steps. So first thing we're going to do is use red. We're going to use red to highlight one of the wires in the black region of C3PO. Then we're going to use emerald, and we're going to use that to highlight another wire in the front, and then also in the back. And this little detail will make the model stand out a little better. Then we'll use dark blue and do the same. We'll highlight, if you could see through my thumb, we'll highlight a wire in the front and then also a wire in the back. And trying to make sure that we don't get any on the gold and then don't get too much in the black, though you can touch it up later. And then lastly, we'll use light orange. We'll highlight another wire in the back and then one more wire in the front. Once you've done that, you've now made the little wires that match somewhat the picture of C3PO. And now we're done painting C3PO. So as you can see, I've done a couple things that I didn't show, which is paint the base black. And what you can't see is that I also gave him a light varnish. This is to protect the paint, because it will come off if it's not varnished due to handling damage, since this is a board game. So if we look at the picture on the right, which is the original, and the picture on the left, which is what we did, it definitely looks a lot better, and it didn't take that long. It took me roughly 1 minute to prime it, 20 minutes of actual painting, and then a couple minutes to varnish it, and this all used only 8 paints. So if you have any questions or comments or things you would like to see differently, send me an email or leave a comment below. Thanks. Bye.